good things prepared for you guys. Just when you chime in, don't. Yeah. We're at the office this morning and working on building a full-time environment with bodies, with some heat. But we got a good one prepared for you guys today because I believe that entrepreneurs are not born, they're developed. Entrepreneurs are born, they're developed. But you can't do what you can't do what you have no clue how to do. You've got to learn from somebody else that successfully does it on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, all year long basis. And I believe there's certain qualities of a successful entrepreneur whereby if you step into these qualities on your own accord, you can live a life of freedom. I believe you could freedom is defined in 2 words. You can define freedom with 2 words: time and money. That's how you define freedom: time and money. And if you master these qualities of a successful entrepreneur, you will have both of those things, which equal freedom. Like Shaq's in the Virgin Islands right now. I absolutely love that. But it didn't just magically happen. Shaq's not luckier than any one of you guys. He's not better than any one of you guys. He just made a decision to master these qualities of a successful entrepreneur. And there's not a lot of, unless Shondell created it. Did you actually go through and create these things? Okay, so she did. Lucky you guys. Because I told her that we don't always need a slide. I remember when we were in the office environment, when our office used to be in Herndon, Virginia, and Samir wouldn't use any slides. He would use a whiteboard and you'd have to take notes, right? So I highly encourage you guys to take lots of notes today on each individual quality, because if you try to go to a locker and put the combination in on the lock, which is on the locker, and you get it wrong, one number, that locker is not going to open up. You won't get access to what you need to inside of that locker. One number, one digit. And the same thing goes for how all of these qualities fuse together. Okay. So I'm assuming these are mine, right, Shondell? Okay. So I believe one of the first things that these are not in order. Okay. So I'm going to pick them out in order of importance. Okay. So step number 1, or quality number 1 of a successful entrepreneur. And by the way, an entrepreneur, I'm going to look up the definition. Define entrepreneur. A person who sets up a business taking on financial risks in the hope of profits. And isn't that amazing? A person who sets up a business taking on financial risk in the hope of profit. Incredible. I have 4 people on my team that are asking me where to go. I apologize, guys. Okay, so the first one I believe is the most important one is goals. A goal is like a compass in life. It's like a magnet that pulls you, the human, towards the vision. A goal is like a magnet that pulls you, the human, towards the vision. Literally, like it has a magnetic force, but only if you write them down. I had this conversation, a long conversation with somebody this week, uh, only on goals, only on goals. Okay, so not having a goal is like putting a blindfold on your head, spinning yourself around 5 times in a row, and me handing you the dart and saying, okay, now hit the target. You wouldn't be able to. I heard Ian Pruckner say this morning that if you have nowhere to go, there's several ways to get there. Think about that. If you have nowhere to go, there's several ways to get there. And so you have to be specific in what you want. That's step one. Clarity. Maybe that could be a sub note. Okay, so step one is to have goals. Sub note to that is have clarity. Know exactly what you want. If you can't say I want to make a lot of money, right? That's why the definition of an entrepreneur is someone that starts a business, takes on financial risk in the hope of earning a profit. Hope is great, but you want your life to be a little more secure than just having hope, I would assume, right? Who here wants financial security? Yes? Okay. So if you want financial security, you have to have clarity on what you want. Achievements don't go to where there's vagueness. Achievements don't go to where there's vagueness. So if someone goes, I want to travel, okay, that's vague, but I want to travel to the Virgin Islands, in particular, St. Thomas, with a 25-foot or whatever he said, 23-foot infinity pool. Thank you. See, this is why you have a team, right? That's specific. That gets you to where you want to go. Maybe that's why the root word of goals is go. Maybe that's why the root word of goals is go. I don't know. But clarity comes first. Second is you got to be willing to, you have to believe. You have to believe. Now, I'm going to take a pause here because Shondel's going to talk about reading. Okay. But I brought a specific set of books that I'd like to recommend in this order, not out of this order, in this order. Okay. The first book I recommend somebody reads is The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Because entrepreneurs are not born, they are created. This was the first after, and you could actually choose. It's between this book and this book. Okay, these two books create entrepreneurs right here. I really believe that. Because it changes how you think and your perspective on life. There's someone on our team that works at Ann Pizza, and we actually found someone under them that also works at Ann Pizza. They both work there, and they got this manager that's the dumbest person in the world, in my opinion. God bless his soul. They will tell him, don't schedule me on this particular date, and the manager will still do it. When they say that they can't come in, he reprimands them. And that is just, that's insanity, in my opinion. But see, they work 12-hour days, guys, for $13 per hour. We did the math on that. That's $120 after taxes for the day, right? We had somebody, I'm sure someone got a sale yesterday and made $500 in 1 hour. $120 for a bunch of flack from their manager. You know, it was real busy on a Friday night when we went in there. Lots of stress for $120. The thing, why did I bring this up? Because they think they need that. They in their head, from their perspective, that's the only choice that they have available to them, because they don't know any better. If they knew better, they would do better, right? But the only way to do better is to know better. And how do you know better? By putting the right things in your head. That's how you know better, right? So it starts there. After those two, I would recommend this one. Think and Grow Rich. Because the hardest thing and the hardest thing to do, and the biggest reason men and women don't win in life, is because they simply don't what? Think. There's an audio version. Maybe right. I'm giving you guys action steps to do. Don't not do these. Go do these. You could put a sub note to this book. It's called the audio. It's 30 minutes long. I've memorized it. I've listened to it that many times. It's called The Strangest Secret in the World by Earl Nightingale. If you knew better, you would do better, y'all. And I know the folks on this call on a Saturday morning when everyone else is watching cartoons, sleeping, or doing God knows what, you guys want to win. You guys want to do better. So how do you do better? You got to think differently and then grow rich. Thinking is the precursor to growing rich, right? The next book I would read is this book, Beyond Positive Thinking. Beyond Positive Thinking by Dr. Robert Anthony. Okay? Because the second thing to achieving your goals is belief. First, it's clarity, knowing exactly what you want. Exactly what you want. Not being vague. But the second is believing that you can achieve and acquire those things. At the beginning of each month, what I do is I sit myself down in a seat. And Shondell will testify to this. I'll sit down in a seat before the month begins, and I'll just stare off into space. And it became a habit of mine, and I didn't understand exactly why I was doing it until recently. And I realized what I was doing was not thinking about how I'm going to achieve my goal for that month, but if I can. I'm mustering up the belief, and I'm not, and I don't get out of the chair until I come to grips and come to an agreement that I can and I will. Basically, I'm coming to a resolve with myself that I will achieve this goal. Belief. The third thing is you got to be willing to die for what you want. Okay, I know that's a little extreme, but that's the reason that most people that have entered Primerica sat in dozens, if not hundreds of meetings, and now know exactly what they need to do. And they still don't do it. Because they've not made a resolve that I'm willing to die for what I believe in. Point me in the direction of one great man or woman, and I'll show you somebody that was willing to die for what they believed they could achieve. Right? Another book is this one, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Okay. One of the things that it says, one of the habits in this book is begin with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. That's habit 2 of 7. Habit 2 of 7. In other words, have some clarity. And lastly, be consistent. Those are the 4 things that have to go with being a professional goal setter. Have clarity, have belief, be willing to die for what your goal is, and be consistent in your daily disciplines. And we'll get there. What are the consistent daily disciplines of the Primerica entrepreneur? We'll get there, right? But when it comes to your goals, you got to write them down each and every single day. Okay. At the end of this training, because my goals are over there, I'm going to show you what that looks like, what I write my goals on every single day. And who did I get this from? My mentor. See, I lived with my mentor for 1 entire year. And the power of osmosis, look that up if you don't know what it means, is incredibly powerful. It oozes off on you. That's why you become who you hang around. The books you read and the media that you consume. Because of the power of osmosis, guys. You must write your goals down. How often? How often? I know you guys are on mute. Say it out loud. How often? Every single day. Amen. Okay. Another key quality of an entrepreneur, and we're right on time here, is being decisive. Being decisive. Well, I went through goals first because you wouldn't start a journey from Virginia to California driving without entering the address in your GPS first, would you? You just get in your car and start driving. You might end up in Montana. You need a GPS, a compass. That's what goals are. That's why we start with that first. But then comes decisiveness, right? Because what happens if you want to go from Virginia to California? You've got the GPS and then something happens. Anything happens. Everything happens. Your car breaks down. Your car breaks down. I don't know. If you got a child, they got to stop to use the bathroom. You got to stop to use the bathroom. You get tired, whatever. Like, no matter, there's a storm through you got to pass through Kansas. There's a tornado. Oh my gosh, tornado warning. No matter what, we heard on Bible study, Shondell and I this week. Okay. It's not what if, but even if. Write that down. It's not what if, it's even if. What if we run into a tornado along the way? What if our car breaks down? How about this? In the actual entrepreneurial transition from job to entrepreneurship, it goes, most people, this is what they think. What if I run out of money? What if I can't feed my kids? What if we lose the house? It's not what if those things. It's even if those things happen, you're still going to figure out a way to make it happen. That's a real entrepreneur, not a wantrepreneur. Not what if, but even if those things happen. That's being decisive. I've decided that even if those things occur, I'm going to keep plowing forward no matter what. A quick story for you guys is a sailor took his crew on a voyage on behalf of his country's king and queen to conquer a never before seen island. And turns out that when they got there, it was a 2,000-mile journey, by the way. This was on a boat. They got to the island, and turns out that the island was already inhabited by people that were not very friendly. Savages. Inhabited. Thank you. The crew, when they got there, wanted to turn back. They got scared. And so the person first in charge, first mate, goes to second mate and says, corral the crew and just get them on the island. Okay, tell them we got food, tell them we got whatever you got to tell them, get them on the beach of the island. I'll take care. I need to take care of something. The first in command burns the ships, burns all three of the ships. Now what? Now the crew has no choice but to conquer the island that they were set forth to conquer by the king and queen as ambassadors. That is a story of decisiveness. Are you holding on to your piece of you-know-what job because you are asking, what if this, what if that? Or are you going to be decisive and let go and burn those bridges, burn them to move on to something greater? What if is from the devil, but even if is of God. Be decisive. The third quality is practicing and mastering skill set, because there's the motivation part, which I just got through. And then there's the skills part. Write this down. Skills pay the bills. That's the thing, because people are so scared that their bills won't get paid. What if this? What if that? I don't know if Dante Shondell and Josh and everybody else that's in a trainer leadership role now feels that too much of that anymore. I don't know if Dante's, just like almost crying because he doesn't know how he's going to pay his bills at this point. He's a professional. He knows exactly what to do. He knows exactly how many appointments he needs to set to do a certain amount of appointments, to get a certain amount of production, to make a certain amount of cash flow, to pay his bills. Why? Because he's got skills. And how can you develop your skill set? You can go on our YouTube channel. You can show up to training. Did you know showing up is the lowest level of commitment? These are ways that you can, and then you can call your trainer. How often do you call your upline? Do you call your, Samir would tell me, do you call your stupid friends more than you call people that have what you want? Right? That's how you practice. If your upline calls a drill for skill, you should be the first one there, and you should have everyone on your team showing up to that drill for skill. It's the only way you're going to get free. It's the only way you're going to master your craft, because skills pay the bills. Never forget that. Okay. Then that actually leads into becoming a professional question asker. Because once you've mastered your skills, right? I just did an entire training with a Darian yesterday on whole life insurance. See, now he knows how to break down whole life insurance versus term life insurance. But just because you know how to say something doesn't mean someone's going to do business with you, because statements push people away and questions pull people towards you, right? It's not about what you say, it's about what you ask, and the answers are in the questions. Write that down. The answers are in the questions. My gosh, I'm doing appointments, but I'm not getting results. Fix your question asking. There's three very valuable types of questions you can learn. Write them down. Here they are. Ready? Transition questions. Power questions. Like, what's a power question? A power question is, if something were to happen to you tomorrow, would you want to leave your family in a better position, the same or worse? Boom, power question. Transition questions, power questions, and commitment questions. What's a commitment question? If we were able to find you a better option, do you have any emotional attachments to this current policy that would prevent you from making a change, right? Commitment question. No, I don't have any emotional attachments. Those are the three types of questions that I would ask my trainer, my upline. Hey, give me text me, telegram me a list of all the commitment, transition, and what else? Power questions that I need to know so that I can become a closer and ultimately master my craft and skills, because those pay the bills, you see? Okay, next is work ethic. Work ethic. Why is that next? And why am I going in this order? It's very important you go in this order, because you can become a professional question asker, master your craft and your skills, and then not work every day. And then come back to Joshi like Primerica doesn't work. Primerica doesn't work. No, Primerica does work. You don't work. You don't work. You don't win the day. Okay. So I told you I would come back to what what consistency, my bad, what consistency looks like in the day of the life of an Primerica entrepreneur. This is what consistency looks like. Nothing else. Nothing else. It's called winning the day. Winning the day. How do you win the day? I forgot my jar in the car. I brought it for you guys, but I forgot it in my car. So I got to use this as an example. This is a jar. Okay. What you can do is you can get a jar from the dollar store and pick out each and every goal you wish to have by this here convention coming up in 12 months. T minus 12 months. Slap them on the, tape them on the front of your jar. And what you do is every single day you focus on winning the day. How do you win the day? You do 4 of the following things. Ready? You get a recruit. You get a life insurance sale. You license somebody. Or you get a $6,000 investment transaction or higher. If you don't get the 4 results, you must win the day off activity, doing 2 of the 5 following things. 2 of the 5 following things. Number 1, set 5 recruiting appointments. Number 2, set 2 QAs. Number 3, do 2 QAs. Number 4, do 1 QA, sorry. Do 1 QA. Number 4, do 2 recruiting appointments. Number 5, get 10 new contacts. If you do 2 of those 5 following things, and this is recorded, go back on YouTube and watch it, you have just won the day. Or if you get 1 of the 4 results. And what do you do if you do that? You write it down. You write WTD, won the day. You write the date, 7, and you write how you won the day. You take a little piece of paper and you what? Put it inside of the jar. Now, what happens if you don't do it that day? Well, number one, you are not consistent. Therefore, not a professional entrepreneur, but a wantrepreneur. If you don't remain consistent in putting papers in the jar, if you don't hit one of these requirements, you must take a piece of paper out of the jar and put it in the trash, or flush it down the toilet, because that's where your dreams are going and headed. I promise. Right? So that's work ethic. That's consistency, working on the right things. You see, people think that if you go and get 10 numbers in a day, like that's all you got to do. No, that's working hard and not smart. You want to work hard and smart on the right things. You'll get results. And remain persistent in the process. Last night, Shondell Dobie, I was supposed to get on training with Shondell at 7:30. Okay, and she did not get on at 7:30. Okay, she did a QA and she was under the impression she was going to get a $60 app, and it didn't work out. That's how she was going to win the day. But see, it didn't work out. Now what does she have to do? She's got to win the day off activity. But the challenge is it's 7:30 p.m. at night. What would most people do? Most people would quit and turn Netflix on. That's what most people would do. She called Central Time people on Central Time, and she set 5 recruiting appointments, and she already did the one Q. She won the day. And I love this because people are leaving, dropping like flies. They don't want to hear this message this morning. So she won the day, and she got on training with me on Zoom to prepare this training at 9:30 p.m. at night. She could have quit. She should have quit, but she didn't. That's persistency. Then you have awareness, okay? You got to be aware as an entrepreneur about the opportunities around you. If you walk into a place with 4 walls and people around it, 4 walls and people inside of that place, you must not leave without talking to at least one person. I'll leave it at that for the sake of time. Then you have standards, guys. Standards. Listen to me. If you want to win in this business, you have to focus on getting 5 direct recruits every single month like clockwork. That's 60 a year, 60. I challenge everyone to do that because we've done it. We've already done it. It starts with 5 direct recruits a month, and it translates to double-digit recruits. And then you must have a standard to do no less than 5,000 in production, personal production a month. Because as a district leader, that's $2,000 a month. And if you are lean and mean and live below your means, you can do it. You can do that. You can live as an entrepreneur, no boss. 5,000 personal. And then eventually hit 10,000 personal. If you don't have standards, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Standards. Maybe that's why the root word of standards is stand. Because if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. Are you like that? I got 2 left. I'm going to skip networking because basically just prospect. Accounting. Even though that's a skill for the introverts and the extroverts, networking is a skill that can be developed. Maybe Dante could do a whole training on that. He's a freaking king with networking. Accountability is the last one though. Accountability. Oh, and I skipped measurement and quantity, but those go hand in hand. Think about it. Accountability. What's going on in that word? Count your numbers. Here's another way to look at it. Can I count on you? Can I count on you Two ways to look at that word. Count your numbers and can I count on you? Or can I not count on you? Can I count on Marin? Can I count on Marquita and Adarian? Can I count on Joey? Can Joey count on her team? If the answer is no, then move on. Go find someone that you can count on. But if you are not accountable, if you're not accountable, add this to your book list, guys. All those books I just recommended, the last one that you should read in that order is the E-Myth, Entrepreneur Myth by Michael Gerber. E-Myth. You have got to hold yourself accountable before you ever hold anyone else accountable. Because if you don't follow the rules, what in the heck makes you think someone else is going to follow the rules? How are you going to ask someone else to be consistent and you're not consistent? How are you going to ask work ethic from someone else and you don't got work ethic? These, I believe, are some of the core traits of a successful entrepreneur. And Shondell, I'm done. I'm not going to go over the licensing thing this weekend. I'll do it next weekend. But these are the keys of that way you can go into your bullet points. These are the core traits of a successful entrepreneur. How do I know? I'm a successful entrepreneur. And I am following one of the most successful entrepreneurs, made 30, 40 grand last month, right? You are who you hang around. You are the media that you consume. And so I'm so proud of you guys for consuming this morning. And let's hand it over to the next set of qualities of a successful entrepreneur. Thank you, guys.